So this is the next thing that we're going to do. So when we have a thin piece that we're riveting to a thicker piece, we're going to create a dimple in the thin piece, and then we're going to countersink the thick piece to match the dimple, which is a little different from countersinking it just for a rivet. So if it was the other way around, if it was a thick piece going onto a thick or a thin piece, you would only countersink it so that the head of the rivet shows up. So let me just quickly do this, and I'm going to do this right here. Just plug it in. Thank you. There we go. Yeah. And this is a fairly thick piece, so it'll take a second, and I think this drill bit is also a little dull. Yeah. That plus I can't see. There we go. Unfortunately, my safety glasses are not terribly good about fogging.
Mm-hmm. So these COVID masks times.
Right. So all right. So there's a number 40 hole. Just 2 quick turns on each side, so that it's nice and smooth. You can feel that it's smooth. So next, I'm going to use a countersink cage. So a countersink cage has a countersink cutter on the inside. These are single flute cutters, which make nicer countersinks than the 3 flute cutters. So this is a 3 flute cutter, and that's a single flute. You can see it's just a single cut in it. And it makes a nicer countersink, but the downside is it cuts, right? Like it'll really cut, so you gotta be careful.
Nicer than a kind of a standard like hardware store 3 blade thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So we just check the diameter, and I don't know if this is actually set properly. Sometimes when I'm going to do a large number of them and I have different sizes going on, I will actually write, I'll put a piece of tape and I'll write what this is set for, because you can set it and forget it. So this is, from looking at it, it's either set for a rivet or it's set for, it's actually sort of hard to tell. Okay, so I'm going to back it out 7 steps. 5, 6, 7, and I will tell you why 7 in just a minute. So the cage holds it so that it will only plunge a certain amount,
okay,
and each click is 1 mil in this cutter, okay, in most of these cutters. This rivet in here, you can see it's not flush, right? You can run your finger on it,
yep, and
it's not flush.
Yep.
So it's the same thing. We're going to inch up on it. I'm guessing 2, 3, 4. And then still a little more. And I'm going to go back those 3. So if you run your finger on it, it is perfectly flush.
And you can see just a tiny little shine around.
Exactly. But it's not below the surface.
Okay.
Which is pretty important, because when you squeeze it, if it's below the surface,
yeah,
it's not actually going to squeeze in full contact with the countersink, and it'll sort of deform the rivet a little bit.
I see. That makes sense.
So it'll be nice and flush.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as a dimpled piece of 32 thou aluminum,
there's
right?
More metal needs
There's
to go
more metal here.
Okay.
So you don't want to make it so that the metal will entirely float in there, because the curve in the dimple, the curve in the dimple is curved, and this is not curved, right? That's a tight chamfer.
I see.
So you want an interference fit. So the rule of thumb is you want a 7/1000, you want that countersink to be 7/1000 deeper than if it was for a rivet.
Interesting. Okay.
So you just do 7, 4, and that's the proper depth.
Okay.
For that countersink. feels like you need 3 hands, or
Yeah.
like Arnold.
Yeah, with the whole metal.
And you can have a decent idea that it's right by popping the rivet in there, and it fell in, right? Like you can see that it's too low.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit that again just to.
Yep. And you'll get a feel, for
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they have a little whirl came off.
Yeah. So let me get while you look at that, I'll get this ready.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely now.
So I'm just grabbing the 3/32 dimple die here. Okay, and it's too much, right?
Yep.
So we just have to. I'll let you do that. Tidy. Alright, there we go. So just squeeze to form the dimple.
Squeeze that down. Easy peasy. Yeah, 3 arms would be really handy. Okay.
And then just sort of mate them together and see how that feels. It feels like there's no wobble, right? Like it doesn't fit entirely in there.
Yeah, but there's also not a great deal of play. There's a like.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that?
Yep, that looks correct. Because when you squeeze it,
Yeah.
it's gonna tighten everything up.
I see. So there's just a little bit of play.
Yeah, just a little, because it's not entirely the size of the dimple.
Yeah.
It's just under what that is.
I see. Okay.
So is there a rivet in there? Let's see if a number 6 is the correct size. So we can take a peek on the other size and check there. And I would usually also.
So here you said you wanted it just touching? Like that?
Oh, that looks perfect. Nice. So usually there would be. Look at that. Yeah.
Just touching it. Nice.
So usually there would be clecos, sort of holding this in place because there would be multiple. So I'm just going to use this cleco clamp just to hold it down.
Yeah, it's going to be impossible otherwise.
Yeah, and we will actually at this time use the pneumatic one.
Okay.
And
You want to talk about the pneumatic squeezer?
So the pneumatic squeezer is effectively exactly like the manual squeezer, but instead of you using muscle and cams to move the jaws, it's just a big piston in here, and you just plug it into an airline and you push the button and it closes. I can tell you from experience that getting your finger stuck in this is excruciatingly painful. So
don't do that.
Don't do that. So it just closes. So same as before, I'm just gonna just a little more, a little less rather, and we're gonna inch up onto it. So I don't mind being under. I think that's gonna be pretty close. Oh. Doesn't quite fit that way. I'm gonna get in the way of the camera there, I think.
One more.
I'm actually gonna hold this while I do it. I think that's gonna be easier. There we go. So I can hold it there.
There we go, good deal.
And nice and flat. Not quite enough, but you saw the motion. So let me. I'm guessing this is 2 more. Let's go this way. I think that might be 1 more. Almost, right. And the little anvil jaws on this one are a little smoother. I haven't bent it yet. Okay, that feels pretty good. There it is. So, it doesn't quite fit if I jam on it. And this way, there's a little bit of interference, right? Like it bumps into the edge.
Cool. We made scrap.
That's right, we made scrap. There's a lot of that here. So that's 90% of the riveting that you do in an RV is that. There are some with the universal head rivets, and you just use a, where is it? Here it is. You just use a different dimple die that's got a little cup in it that just cups the head of the rivet. I find that these are harder to do than the flat ones, because the flat ones, it's flat, right? Like you know it's flat.
You don't have to be in the middle particularly.
Right. And these is like if you're slightly off, you could ding the side of the metal and things like that, but where is that? There it is. But yeah, but this is
Airplane part.
an airplane part, and the vast majority of airplane riveting. So the second most important skill in airplane riveting is drilling out rivets. So that's what we're doing next.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. The next video is going to be on drilling out rivets. So hope to see you there. Please subscribe. It does help the channel, and it helps you guys see videos as they come out. We'll talk to you soon.